Hello, everyone. Another edition of the Ottawa Market. In this particular episode, we explore and discuss the new so-called breaking news headlines that Carney-Trump talk new trade and security relationship. Seems that our Prime Minister Carney, is again reigniting secret talks, and I emphasize secret talks, about the details of a so-called new economic and security partnership that Prime Minister Carney is pursuing. My sort of take on this is based upon insights I have from being involved in Canadian politics for quite a while. I was actively involved in former Prime Minister John Turner's campaign in 1988 in the so-called 1988 free trade election. At least that's what we called it, when John Turner had sounded the alarms that the free trade agreement of then Prime Minister Brian Mulroney was going to take Canada and down the road of becoming a mere economic or basically general colony of the United States. Indeed, that video has been quoted somewhat and relatively recently because John Turner had prophetic words, and because these are in fact the designs of newly elected President Trump, who keeps touting his desire to make Canada the 51st state. Now, based upon my insights of having been participated in that campaign, in my view, Prime Minister Carney's constant effort at the so-called new security partnership with Trump is absolutely outrageous. I saw recently a new poll which suggested that 80% of Canadians don't think that don't think that President Trump would even in fact honor any such new trade agreement. The Trump 2.0, so to speak, seems to be a complete opportunist, and I don't think that Canadians should expect anything more than what Americans are experiencing in the United States, where we have a President Trump which seems to be down the road of complete narcissism and fascism, in which he does not honor, in fact, America's own venerated political institutions, namely starting from the U.S. Constitution, namely U.S. Congress. He loved to sign executive orders bypassing the democratic will of his own Republican-controlled Congress. We've seen constant efforts to emulate fascism and Hitler's rule over the United States. Hitler's rule over Germany. He seems to be a constant pattern of emulating that, where we have, just like Hitler relied on the military to control and to pursue an authoritarian fascist Nazi-style dictatorship, we now have Trump, constantly bypassing the constitutional law, trying to resist the court, seeking to control his desire for complete unchecked power. And now we have our Prime Minister wanting to deal with a president which can't even honor the United States Constitution, its own venerated institutions. This is outrageous. Now, the fact that Prime Minister Carney, first of all, he keeps saying that he has a mandate to pursue a new economic and security partnership with the United States. No, that's not what we elected him for. We elected Prime Minister Carney to defend Canadian interests, defend our sovereignty, not to go in secret talks with President Trump and to pursue some kind of arrangement. Rest assured, my fellow Canadians, that these talks would not be secretive unless Prime Minister Carney thought that things that he was trying to negotiate away to the United States, Trump's America, we would not approve. So the reason why they're secretive is because he wants to negotiate without our consent and negotiate away our sovereignty. So in a secret closed room talks with President Trump, so that he can give away our so-called, our precious minerals, all these things he wants to be putting on the table. We all know that, President Trump's goal in all this is to make Canada the 51st state. During the election campaign, Mr. Carney at the time had all sorts of real tough talk about elbows up, and now he seems to have gone from elbows up to capitulation. So if we as Canadians do not want our current Prime Minister to render Canada a 51st state by negotiating away our sovereignty in some sort of closed room secret talks, we need to wake up to this. We need to assume the worst as far as what Mr. Carney is trying to do. Our President Trump's idea of what productive is, as he likes to talk about, and the Prime Minister's idea of what productive need not necessarily be our idea of productive. And it seems that we all know that Prime Minister Carney has continuing to have relationships with Brookfield, which is the equity company he was dealing with before. And it seems that he has transforming himself from defending Canadian interests to defending the interests of his economic portfolio. Apparently, we as Canadians need to wake up to these secretive talks. We need to demand transparency. Transparency is vital in any democracy, and these type of secretive talks are not going to work out to our interests as Canadians. So we need to demand transparency ASAP if we wish to not wake up one day and found out that Mr. Carney has surrendered all of our sovereignty away, or much of it, to the United States. We have Lutnick wanting to demand the opening of all our markets, and that's code word for wanting to break down the border so there's no more anything distinguishing ourselves from the United States. Rest assured that they want to break down us bit by bit as quickly as possible so that we can be assimilated as a colony of the United States. If we are to resist this, if we are to resist Prime Minister Carney's efforts, we need to wake up. We need to start making demands of transparency. If we don't start getting transparency, we could very well wake up to being a de facto colony of the United States. So this is a wake-up call that people who are out there who are demanding sovereignty, who don't want this 51st state agenda, we cannot be asleep at the wheel while this type of secret negotiations is taking place. Thanks for watching another edition of The Honorable Market. If you want more commentary like as this, please like and subscribe to this channel and make your comments below and share your thoughts about Mr. Carney's, the Prime Minister Carney's secretive talks in which the media or nobody isn't being allowed to know what is going on other than his clique of cabinet people in relationship to what is being, relationship to what could very well be the sellout of Canada. We cannot afford these so-called secret talks to continue. Secret talks are incompatible with our sovereignty of Canadians and our right to be informed as Canadians in terms of the democracy that Canada seeks to represent. We cannot allow this type of secret negotiation of our sovereignty to continue under the current Liberal government. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe to this channel if you want more commentary like this.